Welcome back to the Bible. Tonight we will be resuming Mark with chapter 2. Chapter 2. And he entered again into Capernaum after a few days, and it was heard that he was at home. And many were gathered together, so that there were no longer room, not even at the door. And he spoke to them the word. And they came, bringing to him a paralyte, carried by 4 men. And being unable to bring him to him because of the crowd, they removed the roof where he was. And when they had dug through, they lowered the mat on which the paralytic was lying. And Jesus, seeing their faith, said to the paralytic, "Child, your sins are forgiven." But some of the scribes were sitting there and reasoning in their hearts, "Why is this man speaking this way? He's blaspheming. Who can forgive sins except one God?" And immediately Jesus, knowing fully in his spirit that they were reasoning this way within themselves, said to them, "Why are you reasoning about these things in your hearts? Which is easier, to say to the paralytic, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Rise and take up your mat and walk'? But that you may know that the Son of Man has authority to forgive sins on earth," he said to the paralytic, "To you I say, rise, take up your mat, and go to your house." And he rose and immediately took up the mat and went out before them all, so that they were all amazed and glorified God, saying, "We have never seen anything like this." And he went out again beside the sea, and all the crowd came to him, and he taught them. And as he passed by, he saw Levi, the son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax office. And he said to him, "Follow me." And he rose and followed him. And as he reclined at table in his house, many tax collectors and sinners were reclining together with Jesus and his disciples, for there were many, and they were following him. And the scribes of the Pharisees, seeing that he ate with sinners and tax collectors, said to his disciples, "Why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners?" And when Jesus heard this, he said to them, "Those who are strong have no need of a physician, but those who are ill. I did not come to call the righteous, but sinners." And the disciples of John and the Pharisees were fasting. They were fasting. And they came and said to him, "Why did the disciples of John and the disciples of Pharisees fast, but your disciples do not fast?" And Jesus said to them, "The sons of the bride chamber cannot fast, while the bridegroom is with them, can they? For as long a time as they have the bridegroom with them, they cannot fast. But days will come when the bridegroom will be taken away from them, and then they will fast in that day. No one sews a patch of unfurled cloth on an old garment, otherwise that which fills it up pulls away from it the new from the old, and a worse tear is made. And no one puts new wine into old wineskins, otherwise the wine will burst the wineskin, and the wine is ruined as well as the wineskin. But new wine is put into fresh wineskin." And he passed through the grain fields on the Sabbath, and his disciples began to go along, pricking the ears of grain. And the Pharisees said to him, "Look, why are they doing on the Sabbath what is not lawful?" And he said to them, "Have you never read what David did when he had need and became hungry? He and those with him, how he entered into the house of God during the time of Abiathar, the high priest, and ate the bread of the presence, which is not lawful for anyone to eat except the priests, and he gave also to those who were with him. And he said to them, the Sabbath came into being for man, and not man for the Sabbath. So then the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath. Chapter 3. And he entered again into the synagogue, and there was a man there who had a withered hand, and they were watching him closely to see if he would heal him on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. And he said to the man who had the withered hand, rise and stand in the midst. And he said to them, is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good, or to do evil, to save a life, or to kill? But they remained silent. And looking around at them with anger, and being greatly grieved with the hardness of their heart, he said to the man, stretch out your hand. And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored. And the Pharisees went out and immediately took counsel with the Herodians against him as to how they might destroy him. And Jesus withdrew his disciples to the sea, and a great multitude from Galilee followed, and from Judea, and from Jerusalem, and from Idumea, and beyond the Jordan, and around Tyre and Sidon, a great multitude, hearing what things he did, came to him. And he told his disciples to have a little boat ready for him, because of the crowd, so that they would not throng him. For he healed many, so that as many as had afflictions pressed toward him to touch him. And the unclean spirits, when they beheld him, fell before him and cried out, saying, you are the Son of God. And he charged them many times not to make him known. And he went up to the mountain and called to him those who he himself wanted. And they went to him, and he appointed 12, whom he also named apostles, so that they might be with him, and that they may send him to preach, and to have the authority to cast out demons. And he appointed the 12, and to Simon he gave the name Peter, and James the son of Zebedee. Oh, I think I skipped a page. Oh, I did not skip a page. My mistake. And James the son of Zebedee, and John the brother of James, he gave them a name, Boanerges, that is, sons of thunder. And Andrew and Philip and Bartholomew and Matthew and Thomas and James, the sons of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus and Simon and Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. And he came into the house, and again a crowd came together, so that they could not even eat bread. And when his relatives heard about it, they went out to lay hold on him and said, he is beside himself. And his mother and his brothers came, and standing outside, they went word to him and called him. And a crowd sat around him. And they said to him, behold, your mother and your brothers and your sisters are outside seeking you. And he answered them and said, who is my mother and my brothers? And looking around at the sitting in the circle, he said, behold, my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the will of God, this one is my brother and sister and mother. That concludes chapter 3 of Mark. Next time we will be picking up with chapter 4. I wish you a blessed Monday.